AskReddit by NMPR 1564. What is the biggest financial money pit people fall into, preventing them becoming financially prosperous when they get older? Credit card debt. The interest is so high. If you're just making the monthly minimum payments, then you're headed for debtopia. Dodge charges on 14.99% April. Lol, seen people buy BMWs with 25% April, I just laughed. Increasing their standard of living every time they get a raise. So lifestyle creep. Not start saving for retirement early. People wake up at age 50 and realize they haven't saved a nickel. My in-laws' retirement plan is basically dad's life insurance policy, despite my husband warning them over the last 2 decades that they have to do something. Marriage, kids, divorce, repeat. Fairly underrated Tom Cruise film. Just having no knowledge of a dollar. I got $100K at 18 from a car accident. Parents urged me to buy a new car. Already bad advice. There was no force that could have stopped me from spending on dumbass shit. Gone within 6 months. Edit. Also want to add that I had high limit credit card offers coming in like water. Took them all, maxed them out, and it led me to file for bankruptcy 12 plus years later. Don't fall into the credit card trap. I'm cash only now because I know I don't have the discipline to spend only what I have. Just to make you feel better, I had a financial advisor who cost me 60% of my money at age 18 with terrible advice. You at least had fun with your money. Now he does job recruiting. I'd love to see the jobs he is selling some poor person. I think I got him reprimanded with some complaints I filed. But there was no recourse from what I remember. My observations are that it's not a single money pit that messes people up, although some do make a single life-ruining mistake. It's more of compounding little and continuous mistakes, such as carrying a credit card debt at very high interest, not learning to cook at home, eating out a lot burns up cash quickly, not shopping for bargains, that kind of stuff, that will burn up $200-300 a month. Over the years that adds up. I totally agree, but I will say it is easy to go too far with bargain shopping. I know a lot of people that stress about a 10-cent saving on some carrots but don't put the same effort into larger expenses. Your car rent, insurance, vacation expenses really matter and outweigh that 10 cents drastically. Startup spirit without knowledge and experience drains out most valuable relationships and your mental health also. My father still has startup spirit at almost 70 and it's torn our family apart. His pursuit of his dream is as bad as a drug addiction. Magic the Gathering. It does save money on showering, fashion, deodorant, laundry, and never having to spend money on dates though. Lifestyle creep. I consider myself more of a casual creep. Getting into a keeping up with the Joneses mentality. I take personal pride in living a little below my means, and as I'm nearing retirement I have lots of financial security and the ability to do whatever I want within my means. I'm going to retire in 2 years with the same net income I earn now. With the same net income I earn now. I am 60, retired at 53, but I took a pretty good loss. About 20 grand. But I'm not the kind of person who can sit around the house anyway, so I got a part-time job that makes about 12 grand a year in addition to my retirement. I've done pretty darned well this way. Good on you for keeping your net income. Way to go. Bad health. I'll add to that, bad teeth. After spending the better part of a decade on one tooth from root canal to extraction and implant, I've put in several $1000s. Keep your teeth healthy. You only get 2 sets and anyone reading this is on their last. Having someone in your family get seriously sick or disabled and or having kids. Expensive, traumatic and life derailing. Horrible. My energy to continuously improve generate profit became much lower after losing 2 immediate family members within 8 months. Not being taught how to budget and plan for future expenses. Adding to this, not learning it for yourself either. It's one thing for parents to teach, but people also have to take some responsibility for themselves. It's a learned skill, not inherited. Medical debt. Not only stuff I owe, but stuff I have to save for knowing I'll need it later. Oh, I have insurance through my company, and once I hit $5,000 for the year, they'll be happy to step in. Vacation? Heh, more like save up $2,000 for a follow-up endoscopy so we know for sure they're gone. Yup, been married almost 2 decades. We've been on 2 vacations during that time. One was the honeymoon, the other was possible by the points I got from paying off medical debt. Oh, and that deductible, it isn't high enough. Plus, that deductible doesn't cover any of your drug copays, doctor copays, or any other copay they can come up with that won't go against that deductible. Dropping $15k 20k a year just to not die is some bullshit. Spouse with a shopping addiction. I had a spouse with that, and a stealing problem too. She isn't in my life anymore. Almost ruined me. Habitually living above their means. Other smaller bad habits. Carrying debt on their credit card that grows over time. Going into deep student debt for a dream school. Buying new cars they can't afford and don't need. Can't underscore the dream school scenario enough. People, if you must go, make it where you get your masters. I got my bachelor's at the most inexpensive college in the state and I got into my master's program just fine. Not having school debt is the main reason I can sleep while struggling to find a full-time job. Another I see in my line of work, irresponsible spending out of laziness. DoorDash, fast food, eating out, grocery delivery. That $20 meal on DoorDash just cost $50. That $100 dinner for you and the wife would have been $15.20 at home. It can feel expensive buying healthy groceries, but I assure you it's absolutely more affordable. Divorce is the most expensive thing you can do. I have way more money now than when married. He was a gambler, risk taker, compulsive shopper. Dead weight is now gone and finance is improving. Spending more than they earn. Credit cards make it too easy to bankrupt your future. Eating out all the time, drive-thrus, coffee, ordering pizza, etc. Buying fast food for lunch or dinner a few times a week can absolutely decimate your spending and you don't even realize it. Me and a few buddies did personal budget overhauls and it was shocking to see how many thousands we were spending each year without really thinking about it. I worked at a place where meals were provided for free, and still some would go get fast food or order delivery every day and then complain they didn't have any money. Having always to have the nicest, fanciest, newest one. Buy quality, buy it to last, take care of it and keep it until there's no other option but to replace it. My grandmother said it's hard to get ahead when you're constantly replacing your belongings. Or, as they said during the Great Depression, use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. Multi-level marketing schemes. They almost all prey upon the poor and only an insignificant amount of people do well. People puffing out their downline are living off the work of those under them. Going into debt for stupid shit like Prada bags. Endless Ubers everywhere. Eating out all the time. That's tens of thousands of dollars a year wasted. Invest that instead and you retire rich. I was at Boost Juice earlier today as my daughter was getting her free birthday drink and they were bagging up 2 drinks for Uber Eats. Who the heck is ordering Uber Eats for a smoothie? I can't imagine how overpriced those 2 drinks worked out to be. Marrying the wrong person. Bad habits. Alcohol, smoking, junk food, fast food, trash media consumption, and buying things they can barely afford adds up really quick. $. But you die sooner by consuming those things, so you don't have to worry about retirement. Getting meaning from life by spending money. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being the reason I didn't just spend the money I don't have on this box I don't need to enjoy with the energy I don't have during the time I won't be asleep. I'm afraid to reread this, so I just won't. Buying too big of a house. Retail therapy. Making yourself feel better by treating yourself can be an endless loop of spending money you shouldn't on something you don't need for a moment of happiness, excitement, fulfillment, just to feel bad about it later, making you want to go treat yourself to feel better. As much as I love animals, getting dogs when you're younger, like 20s, absorbs a lot of money you could be socking in retirement accounts. Teeth cleanings, checkups, food, boarding when you travel, vaccinations, toys, etc. It all adds up. I know people who have dogs who have issues every once in a while where the vet bill is thousands of dollars. So true. I can't afford a dog if I also want to set aside a little for retirement. Probably eating out all the time. Shit adds up. When I was at my first job, a bunch of others who also just started would go out for lunch and coffee every day, then bars on the weekend. This was back in like 2018 and we were actually paid like $60K or so a year, but it still ate up their money. Coffee was $5 and the food was like $15.20 or so. Weekend drinks were around $100. These people would then complain they didn't have any money left over after their paycheck. Yeah, it sucked missing out on the social stuff, but after a couple years I had enough for a house. Like, I know the avocado toast thing is a bit of a meme, but there is a lot of truth in it. If they just packed their lunch and drank the free coffee at work, they would have saved thousands every year. I'm surprised this isn't higher up. My wife and I kick ourselves for how much money we ate when we were younger and realized how much we could have saved and trips we could have gone on without kids back then. Hopefully it's a lesson I can teach my kids when they get older. Thinking buying something on discount is exactly the same as saving money. For real. If you are already going to buy it and you notice it's on sale, yay. You save money. But if you see a new blender for only $75 when it's usually $200, you wasted $75. How often are you even going to use a blender? I'm surprised nobody has mentioned this. Refinancing their mortgage to buy shit they don't need. Car is 5 years old and you feel like a new one? Refinance the mortgage. Bathroom is 10 years old and looking a bit tired? Refinance the mortgage. I know people who hit retirement age that can't retire because they've still got $100K to pay on their mortgage that they've had since they were 25. Being born poor. People really do ignore even minimal inherited wealth as a privilege. Like, not everyone gets that. Paying minimum payments on credit cards. Having 3 or more credit cards. Disagree on the number of cards. I have multiple with different perks depending on what I'm buying. Just be sure you can pay them off and you're good. New cars. It's not so bad if you make them last 15-20 years. These responses are all about the outflow side of the equation, but you have a ton of control over your inflows. The absolute best thing you can do for yourself to save more money is to make more money, so for practical purposes treat your income level as a high priority. Live cheap. Don't loan more than you really need, a lot less than most people loan. Think about what you really need before buying. Sell things you don't use. Save what you can. Get hobbies that either are not that expensive or as a skill you can recoup all some of the cost. Buy things that go up in value. Buy food that is on sale. Freeze it and leftovers. Make your own food. Don't own a car, boat or plane. Money pit. I use a bike, and yeah, it's not always fun or convenient. Buy clothes and everything used or on sale. Ask for a discount everywhere. Don't be shy, nobody cares. Usually you can get things cheaper. Check for cheaper insurance, internet, etc. every year. Learnt as a poor, low income dude who always has more money than I actually need. It's not a influencer lifestyle, but there is a sense of safety in it. Not starting to save early in life. I chose to pay bills and eat instead. Having kids. I have no kids. And I didn't plan to because I have a family history of traumatic birth, and of some pretty intense physical and mental disorders. But I also realized recently that when I finish school, and get the promotion I'm set up for, I'm going to be sitting pretty and I have no kids to worry about with that money. Which is pretty nice to think about. Not taking care of your things, shoes, clothes, cars, home, etc. People just go straight to replacing and throwing things away. If you give your things maintenance, good hygiene, you'll be able to save a lot. Plus it's good for the environment. Not paying off their credit cards at the end of every month. It's the mentality of running up your credit cards, thinking you have more money than you do. If you can't pay off your cards at the end of every month, you are not living within your means. When you do start paying them off every month, you'll notice that you'll actually have more money left over for savings or to invest. Drinking and smoking. Not being born to a family that owns property that you can inherit. Not having a family that can financially support you while you get an education or build your career. 95% of the people who have made it had at least one of these two things happening in their life. I'm not saying they didn't do any hard work. I'm not saying they didn't deserve to succeed because of any hard work they did. I am simply saying these two factors make it exponentially more likely that you will have the opportunity to succeed, especially if you put in that hard work. It doesn't matter if you are the hardest working, most industrious and fiscally responsible person in the world. If you can't afford to go to school, or you lose your car to an uninsured driver, or your rent keeps going up forcing you to focus on more money now instead of investing in your future, then you aren't likely going to go far without the windfall of inheritance to float you or a family that can financially support you during the hard times. My wife giving money to my adult daughters. Gambling. Stop going to your local casino for entertainment if you go more than just once or twice a year. I went today, for the first time in years with some friends, and saw someone with $2k in a slot machine just pressing away buttons. Stop doing that. Putting extra money into high interest savings accounts instead of stocks, bonds, or real estate. Savings accounts are great for emergency savings and whatnot, but actual retirement savings need to be put into things that will outpace inflation, or else it's actually a waste of time. There is a lot of fear related to investing, and it usually stems from ignorance about how it works. For most people, their best bet is to find a financial advisor at a big bank that will generally use a very low risk approach to choosing holdings.